Welcome to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman. This podcast gives the early life of J.R. Hendrick, given in a narrated format. And we certainly hope you enjoy this show. Take care, and God bless you. All right. Little house cleaning order, March 10th and 11th for you entrepreneurs in ACN. Elevate, the 30th anniversary convention is in Fort Worth. And unfortunately, I can't be there. I'm going to watch some of the virtual events, but I also have this thing on the 11th to go to. I'm a Latter-day Saint, so I'm going to the Lubbock, Texas Temple. Anyway, so here we go. This episode is called The Freshman Queen. Okay, from last time. Arriving in Houston, Jim, Claude, and Cadence were called to work with the first company that was partnering with one. Jim had set up a hearing for under the guidance of Gordon Deco and his lawyer, Molly Barron. JR's released from the hospital, and Betsy insists he stay one night at the condo with her before she returns to Washington, D.C. the night of the 22nd. Amy Kathleen flew out back to Washington, D.C. On the 21st, and to her studies and into the normal hostile world with Christine. Jim confesses his sins to his reverend. On the phone in Houston, who suggested he focus on whole balance between family and power. Yeah, right. 1:05 a.m. Eastern. It's a rainy early morning in Washington, D.C., and Amy Kathleen is in the home chapel. She's reading the Bible and praying. She feels like she needs all the fornication she can because Christine's being a little witch. Let's just say that to be nice. 2:50 a.m. Central. Jim wakes up in the Houston mansion owned by Scotty Underwood's family, once owned by oil baroness Rebecca Pointer, 1924 to 1983. Her first marriage was to William Diggs Underwood. The first child, Scotty, was born in Illinois, where she came from. Their other child, Claire, also known as Clara, was born in Texas. Who took place just before she divorced her husband after 11 years of marriage in 1952. 3:15 a.m. Central. Jim opens up the Houston Chronicle. The top story. Royal Scion Bill Mathers was killed yesterday during some offshore drilling. Jim would later run into his wife, Abigail, in Washington, D.C. Shoot, maybe even in Abilene, as far as I know. Jim's ruthless as hell. He's going for any angle he can. 6:05 a.m. Eastern. Amy Kathleen, Forever, and Sarge get in their respective cars Because Cornerstone Christians Academy in D.C. and Ascension Christian College, both were having Wednesday morning Bible studies. Now, Christine, however, she's not interested. She's not interested in going to no Bible study. No. Has to be on Wednesday with mandatory chapel. Otherwise, I ain't going. What a rebellious witch, and going against her wishes, the wishes of her mother. Of course, spoiler alert, she will eventually turn around to the matter when 6:30 a.m. Central. Bacon, eggs, and blueberry muffins are for breakfast at the Holy Spirit Club as JR and Betsy walk in and sit by Brent Clark and Alex Portalis. Are you going to abscond again? Alex asked. You can relax. Betsy's like, look, he can relax. He won't. Charlie Nation, he checked out his dorm, canceled the contract. It's kind of like, he's got the money. The dude's a freaking narcissistic billionaire. And Dave Smith's like, people worried about you, especially Kevin McDonald. And Charles like very mad for drug policeman or with that Turkish Shangu. That's why I don't want nothing to do with him and drugs again. And evidently, his advisor had filled him in because they go to the same classes, and he says, "I'm going to hold you accountable." Well, with Brent, that can be good and that can be bad because sometimes, as you'll see pretty soon, he and Jay are going to crash. And JR's like, well, I can't believe Mr. Cho canceled class on Tuesday so you can go to New York. And so Brent looks at it, he says, we still have to turn in that major paper, JR. University College. And I will take you there to turn in your paper. Alright. 11 a.m. Eastern. The main event. Ascension Hills College, Ascension Christian College, it's called George Washington College of Music. And Amy Kathleen walks out of a music audition when one of the professors approached her. He looks like here's your fiance, one who has mansions in D.C. and El Paso. And Greg's like, well, hey, look, I listened to your audition. Hey, what do you say we have lunch? And Christine's, I'm supposed to be having lunch with Christine. And Greg's kind of hinting, well, she might cancel. At the same time, Christine is getting out of one of her classes, and the other teacher's like, hey, you're struggling with your grades, do something about it. And so what happens is Christine doesn't care. She's supposed to be having lunch with Christine, with Amy Kathleen, but no. She goes and has lunch with Don Selby. is connected with SBA, for loan for a small oil company in Lubbock, Texas. And meanwhile, in government affairs class, Karen texts him saying that her stepfather had told her at dinner last night that he was getting the $12 million loan. And Jared was like, oh. He could easily connect 2 and 2 together. So 11:30 a.m. Eastern, Amy Kathleen she's pissed. Because she found out that Christine won't go to lunch with her. And Greg's like, hey. He sweeps her off her feet, says, hey, I'll take you. 11 a.m. Central, Jim and Cadence get in a white limousine joined by Sarge. Sarge flew in this morning, and Jim's like, why the hell you have to fly in? And Sarge's like, hey. He decides, well, Sarge can be my assistant next few days in Houston. So, his father is finishing up mediations in Houston, and Gerald's in media writing class, and, Professor Robert McPherson talks about broadcast writing in media. Normally, they're given like a TV news script, but JR, he's asked to do a PSA for the Small Business Administration. Hint, hint, Danny's on him. 2 p.m. Central. JR arrives back at his dorm and gets the customary fish bump from Kevin McDonald. And Kevin tells him that tonight, at 6 o'clock, Becky was taking him out to dinner at one guy with Middle East Pizza. I'm thinking JR's going, coolness. Now, 2 p.m., JR is dangling his feet in the pool at the facility, and Christine called. And she says, JR, it's a $12,000 deal with $50 down. Do I take it for Daddy? And even though his dad tried to offer to make amends, JR's still pissed. Because he knows it's for Karen's stepfather, and Karen can't stand him. So, JR's like, cancel it, Christine, cancel it. Because Daddy don't care enough to be there. Okay, so it's 6 p.m. Betsy's on the plane when she opens a 4-way video conference call. JR had heard Christine yelling to Amy Kathleen on the phone. And he's like, I don't really like the way Christine talks crap to Amy. And Betsy's kind of like, be there, visit me. Your daddy knows what to do to stop this competition. And Elizabeth Marie gets on the phone from D.C. And Betsy, this is Frank. He's at law school. And we're engaged, Elizabeth said. And Elizabeth's like, whoa. And Jim, he's like, what the hell's up? And Elizabeth Marie said, calm down, Uncle Jim. We're giving it a year for Betsy to help us plan us a wedding on the ranch. And Betsy's kind of like, okay. And JR is talking Frank, you're in law school, and maybe I can kind of be ready to get you into Hendrick Oil. Gerald said. And Frank said, well, actually, I was thinking about becoming the briefing clerk. And Gerald said, if you work hard on that, wait till I get out of law school, you can work as my briefing clerk for the company. Gerald's funny. He likes Frank, okay? It's obvious. He likes Frank. The thing is, he can't see past Frank. 11 p.m. Eastern, Betsy's plane arrives in Washington, D.C., and she drives the family back to the Chevy Chase Mansion in D.C., known as Gentleman's Gate. 2 a.m. Central. In the mansion in Houston, Jim awakes and he's living the high life. Today's another round of mediations. We last night. At sunset, Andy Braddock had called Cadence to go talk to Andrew Van Buren, head of product development at Lemon Computers, which would be, it's going to be bought out by Google. Lemon Computers. Now, some people make the jokes about lemon. It's a lemon, then it's broken down, it's a piece of crap. I call that offensive. I love lemons. His job, persuade Van Buren that he had to back out from canceling their contract with Braddock Oil. Today he wants to go by Shepherd Limousine to pick up billionaire Issachar Ford, owner of Ford Petroleum Consortium, to persuade him to stop the cancellation of their contract with Braddock Oil. See, Andy Braddock, he pretends to be this wonderful little crusader. But hasn't had much time to character develop him. That's kind of like, Jim knows he's a piece of crap. 3 a.m. Eastern. Jim is, he's recuperating from last night. Some of his dream team came around, some help with Dave Rosenberg, and they came over the house working on more approaches to federal state programs for small business. All right now, beauty as it is, 6:25 a.m. JR and Kevin McDonald go to the House of Waffles for breakfast. Kevin points out to JR that as of Tuesday, a case of near overdose of Turkish Shandu had occurred at a fraternity in Brown University. The young male student was in critical condition. 7 a.m. Central. Jim and Sarge are standing out the mansion talking. And Sarge's like, hey, Frank seems okay. Right? I think he's going to make Liz Marie very happy. And Jim's like, well, I don't know. The man she dated in Washington, D.C. ain't too dang impressive to me. But at least she has the decency to wait a year for a wedding. Youth and wisdom. Sometimes I think Forever and I need that. And Jim said, "You coming with me to the mediation and be able to swim?" And Sarge outside saying, I got English homework. And Jim says, "It feels good to be away from the power games in D.C. But I tell you, something being up last night from the boys in my dream team, that made me feel like I'm a part of something important." And Sarge says something kind of off turn. Try to stop the competition between you and Christine. And Jim's like, "Let me tell you something, Sarge. I want my kids to compete and win. Even if it's against me. Christine's just a young pup working for me. Thing is, I hear her grades are suffering. So I may have to stop it soon enough. But oh, not now. Hell no, not now." And so it's like, "Jim, I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything bad." See, that's the thing. Sarge will back up if it's Jim or Kyle. But he'll stand up to JR if it comes down to it. But it all depends. It all depends on what's going on in the family dynamic. Here we go. And Jim's like, "No, I know." He's feeling like all humble because of what's going on in the family. He says, the famous kind of thing, competition, consequences for what I've done. And Sarge is like, "What about Christine?" And Jim's like, "What about her?" And Sarge says, "Christine's a good kid." And Jim's like, "He's got a lot to learn, Sarge. Problem is, she's thinking fast." Okay, so it's 10 a.m. Eastern. Betsy is overseeing the gardens at Princess Gate when she stops to talk to Elizabeth Marie. Glad that she's decided to wait a year. Elizabeth Marie says she dearly loves Frank, but she wants to be sure, wait until he's graduated from law school. She's graduated from college and they developed a practice in D.C. And Betsy explained that she didn't wait a year between the time that she was dating, engaged, and married to Jim. Jealousy conceived a love, and her father, Jeremy Swain, said, "Marry Jim Hendrick or else have him walk away forever." Ultimatums. 11 a.m. Eastern. Christine shows up as Amy Kathleen gets out of one of her classes, apologizing and offering to take her to take a lunch. Of course, Amy Kathleen is skeptical. 11 a.m. Central. government relations class. JR's learning from Miss Cho about the ethos and pathos in Washington, D.C. regarding the executive branch and legislative branch. Okay, get this. 2 p.m. Central. JR is walking into Lubbock University College Business School. JR is studying governmental relations. He gets a call from his father. Boy, at least you're wisened up and begin to understand, Jim said. Lay off Christine. She's a perfect storm waiting to happen with this competition, Daddy. And I can take you on if it takes it. But she's just a kid. I don't care. Yeah? Mr. Hateful, JR said, angrily hanging up the phone his father. What can I say? Now, at the same time in D.C., the Ascension Christian College Library, Amy Kathleen is there with Professor Lex Craig and fiance Greg. He's like, hey, let me take them both to get some snacks. So, Christine, she knows her dad's playing around in Houston. And she's working in his father's office when she gets a call. Apparently, his father had agreed to put $10,000 from the loan. But JR was able to call Bill Hume from Congress to cut the purse strings to the loan and cancel it altogether. The most the bank was willing to go on the loan was going to be $5,000. I'm sure Jim thought that would suck. Okay, so get this. Christine calls JR, who patches him in on a conference call with her father, who is celebrating with Claude and Cadence and Gordon Gecko at the Cattle Barons Club in Houston. And Christine said, well now, Daddy, enjoy a little party. Christine's right. You're letting the power go get to your head, Daddy. And you're going to fall, Gerald said. Now, I normally would care and try to warn you off from being a dork, Dad. But this time, I hope you fall flat on your butt. Okay, Jim. He turns around, he's still good. I was just glaring around the room. Who told somebody? He says, like, now don't get smart, Christine. You don't know any sense of idea about what I do than you do. Do you understand? And Christine said, JR and I have all along JR and I knew all along about the $12 million loan. And we knew somehow that you would go for the bait. Go for the bait and pay, with the $12,000, pay $10,000 of our loan. So we canceled it. So what? I got a bank in Houston that can easily pay that loan big time. 1,000 times more official than the damn SBA. And Christine's like, oh, how about this, dork daddy? Christine said, well, I'll talk to half the banks in the country. Though, a little help from your staff, and guess what? The most thing they're willing to pay is $10,000. And Jim loses his cool. He's like, hey, you're acting stupid. And she said, well, I took advantage. You've been gone from Washington, D.C. And Jim's like, well, I still have that power. Hey, Dad, I thought power was something you take. Isn't that something you said when I was a little kid? Christine's kind of misunderstanding her father. Jim loses it. No! Hell with that young girl. You listen to me. If you have to take power, you ain't got it in the first damn place. Nobody gives you power. You don't take power. Real power is something you keep in here. Goodbye, Daddy, Christine said, hanging up on him. And Jim hangs up the phone. Because both Christine and JR say that. Okay, 3 p.m. Central. JR is at the varsity jewelry store. He gets a 14-karat gold diamond ring. Big old sucker. Okay. He's confident Jennifer is going to agree to marry him. One problem, though. Brent comes there with Jesse. He's like, you don't know this. She disappeared. And Jared's like, what the heck? Okay. 6 p.m. This is the 23rd. Seeing that Christine had decided to cancel dinner with Amy Kathleen, again, she decides to go on a date with Greg. Who's anxious to marry her and take her away from the power games in D.C. Obviously. Okay, so it's 7:20 p.m. JR is studying for JR studying. He's happy to be free of Charlie Nation, who Mr. Cho told him earlier that day. It was kind of like a wandering wastrel. Just a wandering wastrel. What can you say? So, tomorrow Ken would be in Lubbock, spending time in the condo with JR, and joining them would be Dave Smith and Kevin McDonald. Okay, 7:40 p.m. JR takes a call from Brad. He wants to have lunch on Sunday after they both go to church. Now, Brad invites JR to his Baptist church, and JR's like, I'll stick with the Holy Spirit Club. Formalities. 10:20 p.m. Amy Kathleen comes home, lucky that, to find Tom and Diane, her parents. Hey, Amy, are you okay? Tom asks. It's like, sometimes I don't want to be around here anymore. Christine, she's so hung up on competing with her dad. Well, now I can understand. JR. But Christine? And Diane's like, well, I don't even like JR doing it. And so Tom says, look, don't worry, Aunt Betsy's going to El Paso tomorrow. And I asked Greg to take you away from here for spring break. You guys, and I'm going to talk to Jim and Betsy about stopping this stupid thing. So let's get out of control. Okay, so it's 10:10 p.m. Central in the mansion in Houston. Jim is enjoying the last night he has there. Truth is, today's mediation went badly, and he decides that he's ready to go back to the Powers games in D.C., despite the fact that he knows that Betsy is going to be leaving Saturday evening to go to El Paso, and then leave Elizabeth in Phoenix in El Paso and Phoenix, and for chemotherapy, go on to Phoenix. 11:40 p.m. JR is burning midnight oil studying. 2:10 a.m. Eastern. Elizabeth wakes up from belly pain. She's in her apartment attached to the house, and she reaches for her tonic at her bedside, goes into the apartment living room to listen to Tennessee Ernie Ford. She knows that Thomas has to be out the door by 5:45 to go to duty for a helicopter rescue. Stewart is stranded on his yacht. Something stupid. 3:45 a.m. Thomas wakes up and turns on the Country Van Lone Star. He had received the text last night that the court things was going. They were going to hear some Thomastine's position for more child support. Of course, thanks to his dad, Thomas had a very good, according to thanks to Uncle Jim, Thomas has a good attorney named Trev Morgan. Morgan was born in Mexico, with American father and a Mexican-American mother. Raised in Arizona, Morgan graduated from the Wallace College of Law at Phoenix University College in 1965 and moved to Texas in 1980. His area of practice are criminal law, family law, and laws pertaining to divorce and business torts. Morgan has been married to his wife, Patricia, Maddox, both devout members. They're Latter-day Saints. Let's just call that Latter-day Saints. Now, 6 a.m. Central. So Claude arrives at the Houston police station and walks inside. He says, Gordon Deco sent me. And this officer says, chopper en route. So he goes to the chopper, and this young kid is a pilot says, if you'd like to ride along, get on board. Come on board. And Charlie's like, okay, let's go. Claude's like that. And so, Claude and Cadence were asked to find Chad Markham of Markham Oil and Metals. He's asked to take him to the airport to see Gordon Deco. 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Betsy arranges for a mandatory 3-way conference call to everybody. JR had Brent bring some of Sidham's sister Adam's donuts for breakfast. So Jim asks, what's going on with Elizabeth Marie? And Betsy says, well, she's still asleep. She and Frank were out there late last night. And Jim was like, I don't understand why they live together. And Jim said, Daddy, that's taboo in my book. Granddad always taught me that you don't live together until you're actually married. And I really hope that this one Frank was really last. I really like him. Last time to compete like this, boys, Betsy said, Jim, what time will you be back? About 11. And then I go to play golf. And Jared's like, playing golf with Blake Carter. I kind of like his intelligence in that. And Jim, and Betsy's like, well, how's the meetings going in Houston? And just tension in the air on the phone. And Jim came on and he's like, hey, it's just fine, Miss Betsy. Fantastic. And Christine says, I'll have to go to school. I'll see you tonight. Be sure to dinner tonight, Betsy said. And Christine's like, whatever. I'm what a rebellious witch. I want to take a sip of the little bit of root beer when she says that. And Gerald says, I don't really like the way she treats Amy Kathleen. Bessie's like, she's in the rebellious stage again. You know. So, Christine is trying again to apologize to Amy Kathleen. Amy Kathleen's had it. Now, 8:20 a.m. So Cadence brings Chad Markham over to Gordon Decco's private jet. Markham was clearly excited about the new partnership arrangement, and Gordon arranges for him to be it was on the passenger manifest for the flight. See, Markham thought he was going to be there and everything. And Gordon's flying to Denver, Colorado, and Gordon suggests that Cadence stay behind, stay a couple more days at the mansion, which he could, and do one more favor in Houston. 12:15 p.m. Jim is on the golf course. He's talking, with Sarge. Sarge's like, are you okay? You're kind of tired. And he's like, he's really, he's upset about Christine, the rebellion and everything. And Sarge is trying to make excuses. Well, she does a lot of responsibilities. And Jim's like, this is my fault. I should have never made her get the job. And Sarge's like, well, she'll be alright. And Jim's like, oh, like the sharpest knife. So, Christine is reminded again of her greatest suffering. And she told the academic dean that her father would be going to Tallahassee in 2 weeks, and they would talk about stopping the competition then, which is good. 12 p.m. Okay, Jared's supposed to have lunch with Brent Clark, but after government relations class, they got into a fight or disagreement over Jared's father. And so he grabs the usual cheeseburger special at the Sneed snack bar, and he's in his dorm listening to wrestling ball. And he starts missing Charlie. Jared, don't go there. You don't minus the drugs. But he's also very well aware of what that cost him. His brother Kyle had found out and had called him today, lambasting him for the idea. So now, Jared's angry. He calls Ken, and Ken reassures, hey, I'll be back as soon as I can. 1:35 p.m. Eastern. On the golf course, Jim gets a call from Phil later. And Jim angrily says, hey, I'll be there tomorrow. And Phil's like, dang, you're out you are. So, 1:25 p.m., JR is walking to Smith Hall to study when he gets a call from his mother. Apparently through Aunt Donna. JR's father had booked the vacation mansion for JR and Ken in Salt Lake, and staying there with him was going to be a childhood friend who was studying astronomy at Baylor. He's going to the astronomy conference there. It's Bill Owens, who knew JR from John Island. Elementary. Okay. 2:35 p.m. Amy Kathleen is studying when Greg walks in. She gets excited. She's like, "Hi!" Amy Kathleen said. And he says, "More trouble at home?" Greg asked. "Well, rebellious Christine, that's all the same." He hands her some flowers and says, "Hey, let me take you out to dinner tonight. $3. And she's kind of like, "Shoot, yeah." So it's 3 p.m. in D.C. From his home office, Jim is being interviewed on the Blake Carter show. Kind of like a call-in, and again, he strongly criticizes Clinton's promise to, quote-unquote, government for the center, knowing that Clinton's closest advisors do not trust Dick Morris. 3 p.m. Central. JR's outside Gordon Hall. Ken shows up. And JR runs out, putting a suitcase in the back of the truck. And Ken says, "Let's get you out of here, man." "Man, I can't believe that I have to carry my father's damn jeans." Then he's resenting that he came from his dad. And Ken's like, "When are you going to learn to forgive him? He came to the hospital to see you." And JR's like, "Look, I love what he did on our spring break vacation. I didn't realize that that convention was a setup for us to atone to cover for Jim Bob Horton. Dad didn't want that." And Jim's like, JR's like, "The hell with Jim Bob Horton." Ken says, "I'm going to try to go to Salt Lake anyway. And your mom sent Mom the pictures of the place where we're staying. So it's going to be fun. 2 weeks from now. And we're the hell out of here." Mike Fields says that Daddy is getting a charter limousine to take me to, but they have to stop at Big Spring to drop off my stupid brother Kyle. And Kim's like, "Man, chill out. I haven't liked Kyle, You guys ride in peacefully a couple of hours." Okay, so it's 3:50 p.m. Central. In the front lounge, Jim is listening to Blake Carter, who announces that beginning tomorrow until March 14th, he would be on hiatus vacation to see his best friend in Newport News, Virginia. His best friend, Isaac Denvers, he was a consultant and influencer in the tech industry. No doubt lemon computers, I bet. Bessie talks about how she's excited to go to El Paso for a few days. And so, has her mom to be with her, and then going through chemotherapy in El Paso and everything. And Betsy has to go to Phoenix, then Tallahassee with her husband, and then Baton Rouge, and then sent to her mama. 4 p.m. Central. Ken is making beef fajitas con queso. When Dave Smith shows up, they sit together at dinner. It's an early dinner. And talk about how each of them is glad that JR is out from under Charlie Nation. Okay, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's at the Italian restaurant in Washington, D.C. Greg has made his own private room with servants and everything. And Greg is willing... he's charming Amy Kathleen, wooing her, promising that once the summer was over, they would go to Abilene together to go to school, and he would take her away from the Hendrick Power Games. Amy Kathleen is swooning. The next thing you know, dinner would be available in 30 minutes. But for now, they're dancing in that special room. Nobody around. Greg's holding her in his arms for 2 hours, with the dinner and dancing. It's with Amy Kathleen. Time doesn't matter. 8 p.m., 6 p.m. Central. Back at the Hendrick condo, J.R. Ken, Dave, and Kevin McDonald sit down and listen to Walt Fitzwilliam, who is getting political gossip about potential whitewater testimony before the U.S. House Banking Committee by a Clinton official in Arkansas who is denying that they made tapes relating to sexual innuendo about Paula Jones. We know where this is going. 8 p.m. Eastern. Amy Kathleen shows up at the Hendrick mansion to talk to Aunt Betsy, Tom, and Diane. She says that she is relieved that Greg is considering taking her on a vacation or a spring break. And this is going to come full force, I promise. 8 p.m. Central. The crew is watching a movie called The Crossing. That came out in 1994. And everyone is relaxed and happy. Because this is the episode where nobody gives the power, takes it. Real power you keep in here. Now, I hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrick Texan. Gentlemen, if you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the adventure. And this is the James Hendrick Empowerment Network saying until next time, get ready for the rest of the story. It gets bumpy from here. So I want you guys to know that. Hope you enjoyed it. You guys take care, okay? Because this next episode is going to be a culmination of events that is going to change how the Hendrick family begins to look at each other.